Hello and welcome to Chatterbox, the place where too much talking is a good thing. Today's lesson or video is for persons who struggle with grammar. I know for me, I have had problems with grammar ever since I started learning language, specifically Japanese. I refuse to use prepositions in my Japanese. I confuse them, I don't know where to put them, it's just a mess. So I eliminate them altogether. So for our English speakers today, I want to focus more on prepositions, just to give you an idea of how they're used in a sentence. So let's begin. By definition, a preposition is a word that tells you where or when something is in relation to something else. So here we have our first sentence. We are very excited dash our trip to Spain next week. Is it? We are very excited at our trip to Spain next week. We are very excited with our trip to Spain next week. We are very excited about our trip to Spain next week. We are very excited over our trip to Spain next week. The answer is we are very excited about our trip to Spain next week. Okay, next. I am very fond dash drinking green tea. Is it? I am very fond for drinking green tea. I am very fond of drinking green tea. I am very fond about drinking green tea. I am very fond at drinking green tea. And the answer is I am very fond of drinking green tea. Next. Almost all politicians were involved. Dash the scandal. Is it? Almost all politicians were involved in the scandal. Almost all politicians were involved at the scandal. Almost all politicians were involved with the scandal. Almost all politicians were involved from the scandal. And the answer is almost all politicians were involved in the scandal. Next. I am looking forward dash having a meeting with you next week. Is it? I am looking forward with having a meeting with you next week. I am looking forward at having a meeting with you next week. I am looking forward to having a meeting with you next week. I am looking forward from having a meeting with you next week. And the answer is I am looking forward to having a meeting with you next week. Next. At the moment, she is recovering dash her injuries. Is it? At the moment, she is recovering at her injuries. At the moment, she is recovering of her injuries. At the moment, she is recovering from her injuries. At the moment, she is recovering with her injuries. And the answer is at the moment, she is recovering from her injuries. And those were the 5 sentences showing the use of English prepositions. Let's take a look. We are very excited about our trip to Spain next week. I am very fond of drinking green tea. Almost all politicians were involved in the scandal. I am looking forward to having a meeting with you next week. At the moment, she is recovering from her injuries. Okay, so I'll submit to see the correct answers, just for fun, of course. View my score, and 100%, 5 out of 5 correct. So those were 5 sentences showing the use of English prepositions. I hope you enjoyed this video and see you next time. Bye!